Well, he's got to play Pogba, surely.
Well, you would think so.
It's your biggest game remaining this season.
Wembley, FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah.
Your biggest star. All the paper talk's been about him. He left him out in Sevilla away.
Sure.
In the first leg. I mean, you know, away from home. Still a surprise, but away from home. But I think he has to play him. As well as he played along with some of the United players, I have got no interest how Paul Pogba plays against Bournemouth away. Really. Do you know what I mean? I want to see what he does in the weekend. I want to see what he does against all the big teams. Not fine in isolation. Bournemouth away, little club. That's not why he gets the big bucks.
What do you think, Stevie? Looking ahead to that semi-final. Alexis Sanchez on the bench. He will play, definitely. Lukaku will definitely play.
Well, yesterday,
Matic will play.
Yesterday, Mourinho basically said he wasn't resting anybody. It was on form.
Yeah.
And if anybody did really well, then they would play. And well, I can tell you straight away, before the ball was kicked, Luke Shaw could have scored a hat-trick. Would never be playing on the Saturday. Fellaini could have scored a hat-trick as well. Was never going to play on the Saturday.
That's a lot of goals.
And that's for not resting anybody. Guaranteed Sanchez plays on Saturday.
Right.
So everything he said leading up to this game was complete gobbledygook.
Well, whatever that is. What was that you just said?
Just a lot of rubbish.
Okay. Look, even when he's given a compliment to Paul Pogba, it's sort of like he was phenomenal against Manchester City, but today he wasn't quite that phenomenal.
Yeah, but he's still got a very, very good.
Very, very good, but we'll see. And the truth is, Paul Pogba was never in doubt to start on Saturday. If indeed this is what the season is all about for Manchester United, it comes down to this game, then you assume that you would put your best players out on the field. That's what every manager in the world would do. However, Jose Mourinho doesn't consider himself to be every manager in the world. He is the special one. So he would make a special decision that would be the wrong one. You need your best players on the field. Paul Pogba is one of your best players.
Top performance. Obviously, the performance against City was special because come with 2 goals. But this performance was very similar level. So, top performance. He can do it. He can do it.
Thank you.
Paul Scholes said just before the game that at West Brom last week, Pogba's performance was disrespectful to you. I just wonder what you make of that.
I don't agree. I agree that wasn't a good performance at all. With that, I agree.
What a night of action then in Italy. Juventus won, Crotone won. It's how it finished. Juve had the lead for quite a while. Meanwhile, Napoli were behind against Udinese. Napoli, though, coming behind to win that game by 4 goals to 2. Meanwhile, Roma with the win. Lazio with an extraordinary comeback to win 4-3. Keeping them in 4th, 1 point ahead of Inter Milan. Gab, let's start with Juve, shall we? 1-0 up early on against Crotone. You expected them to kick on, you know, win the game comfortably, but they seemed a bit nervy.
They were undoubtedly nervy. Paulo Dybala had a rough time. But I also want to give a shout out here to Crotone because we've seen this time and again this season, whether it's Spal, who also held Juventus to a point, whether it's Benevento, who certainly ran them close for as long as they could. You know, these teams near the bottom, for whatever reason, Juventus seem to have issues with them, and then you know you have 6'8" Mr. Simi doing his Cristiano Ronaldo impression, and it all goes haywire.
Well, you take a look at Napoli, Gab. It's not the first time we've seen them do this season, come from behind. You look ahead to their clash against Juventus. They come in, obviously, as underdogs, as visitors. Before we look ahead to that game in Turin, you talk about Napoli, and some people talk about them throwing away the title. Yet, if they were going to do so, they could have done it 2 or 3 weeks ago. They keep just finding that extra bit of fight, don't they?
Absolutely. You know what? I mean, I think the biggest takeaway, whatever happens in Napoli season, is that age-old stereotype whereby, you know, when the going got tough, Napoli were going to fold, how they were too tired, how they weren't deep enough, how they weren't mentally tough enough, and goodness, nobody can match Juve's mental toughness. Well, I think they've shown it because with less tools than Juventus, they're right there. They're 4 points back. I think nobody could have expected it. They're winning points at a rate that would have been good enough to win the championship easily most years. And I think that's a credit because they do find a way to dig deep and come back, and they've done it already 4 or 5 times this season.
What do you think, boys? And Napoli, a slightly different animal that maybe we gave them credit.
Guess who's winning Serie A?
Yeah?
Juventus. We can talk all day about how great Napoli's done. You know, they've looked dead and buried a couple of times. But guess what? Juventus, regardless of how stylish you're looking for it or whatever, they get it done. And this game coming up at the weekend, I'm putting my money on 1-0 Juventus, because that's what they do, and they will kill this off.
And you don't put your money on much.
No, my wallet is firmly in my pocket normally, but on this occasion, you got to go with Juve.
Yeah, as much as we're, and Gab is going in the direction of on saying, okay, well, Napoli's done great up until this point, and they've shown the fight, and they've shown the spirit, and all these other things. Are we deep enough? Are we not deep enough? We're not tired? Are we tired? Whatever. They're 4 points behind. So all of these things, it's all great, Napoli. It's all fantastic, but you're still 4 points behind.
Could be 1 point, though, after the weekend.
Saying who?
Hey, by the way, you know what the key is, though?
No.
Behind. When you're behind, you don't win anything.
It's not about, listen, you guys, it's not like they may be 4 points behind. They're going to finish the season with one of the top 5 Serie A points totals in history. Okay,
Doesn't matter.
They're really, really good. They've been really, really dominant against everybody. And they may end up 4 points behind. But why do we keep track of points? It's not just to decide who finishes first. It's to decide how they've done. And against the rest of Serie A,
Hold on a minute.
they have been
To decide
absolutely
who finishes
dominant.
first,
Almost
second,
as dominant
third,
as
fourth,
Juve.
and who gets relegated. And who gets in the European
Yeah,
spots.
there's
That's
a
why we
difference
have
between
points.
finishing. Yeah, no, but that's the whole thing. I mean, there's a difference between winning a league with 70 points or finishing second, 25 points behind, and running a team so close that you're 4 points behind. You could be 1 point behind come Sunday night, and at the same time doing it to a team that's going to come close to 100 points this season. That's pretty spectacular. Any way you slice it.
I got to be honest, Gab, I haven't got.
Any way you slice it, it's called being first or second. Regardless of how many points you are behind, it only matters who's got the most, who's number one. That's what it's all about.
So it wouldn't give you any sort of solace in the fact that you would have
No,
this.
absolutely not. If somebody turned around to me and said, you know what, I thought you were really unlucky. You know, in the last 5 years, you would have won the league, but unfortunately this year you didn't, but well done. I would have absolutely no joy or any satisfaction from that at all. In fact, if anything, it made me feel worse.
So we're going to give you a second trophy. You would have won it last year trophy, but you haven't won it this year. And by the way, I tell you what, I hope Napoli stuff them. I hope Napoli stuff Juventus, because I'm sick to death of all this Juventus moaning off the back of the Real Madrid decision in the Champions League game. And I know the rest of Italy have all piped in and had their say, but Juventus have driven it. And I would hate to see the crocodile tears if Napoli win this league. Because if they moan like they did when Real Madrid knocked them out of the Champions League, that'll be never ending.
I understand what you're saying about the moaning from Juventus, but it's also come from De Laurentiis, who's
Napoli's.
Napoli. So
Yeah, well, I just said that. I just said it's coming from all Italy,
Right.
but it's been driven by Juventus.
Meanwhile, Gab, let's talk about the race for the top 4, shall we? It was
Has
spectacular.
that got points involved? Or what is it? They're just giving out top 4 places.
I believe there are points involved. Of course, that Lazio game was spectacular against Fiorentina. Meanwhile, Inter with the win and Roma as well. This one looks like it's going to go right down to the wire. How much is going to play into Roma's hands, the fact that obviously they've got Champions League to worry about as well?
I think it's got to affect them, but you know the nice thing about the semifinal is that you know it's all over in it's all over in a week. So you know you're talking about certainly this weekend's tie, and obviously next week. Inter have slightly turned a corner in the sense, but you hesitate to say that because they've let you down so many times in the past. But certainly against Cagliari on Tuesday, they won and they played well, and the Bras showed up, as did Perisic. Which is what Inter need if they're going to score goals. Lazio, I mean, all bets are off. I don't know I don't know how Simone Inzaghi is doing it, smoke and mirrors. They have some outstanding players, but certainly nobody expected them to be where they are and to be in this position. And just like nobody expected them to come back from 2 goals down the way they did against Fiorentina.
How do you handle this if you're Roma, Stevie? Looking at it, obviously, you've got 2 big priorities to finish top 4 and to take on Liverpool. How do you balance that?
Well, I think the coach has to constantly be on the players and reminding them that the only thing that matters is the next time we step on the field, regardless of what it is, because it's huge for them to get in the Champions League next year.
Yeah.
Of course, some of them, and particularly the fans, will be saying, "Well, it doesn't matter. We can get in the Champions League if we win the Champions League." But they can't rely on that, and so I think there's no question this is going to affect them. I think they could be in trouble. I think they'll be the team that misses out because of the Champions League, regardless of whether they beat Liverpool and get to the final or not. I think they've got a tough schedule. They've got a lot of games coming up.
Yeah.
I think they're the team that's going to miss out.
Maybe it's the time to address your players and say, look, this next few weeks, we're going to need the very best from you. We're going to need you to take care of yourself, take care of your body, do the ice bath, do the massage, everything that you need to do, because, Dzeko, you need to be at your best. Because player after player, you need to perform at a level that we're going to need you on the Wednesday, we're going to need you on the weekend, and we're going to need you the following Wednesday, and we're going to need you on the weekend as well. This is when you got to lean on your heavy players, on your heavy money players, on the playmakers, on the goal scorers. This is a moment for...
Welcome into extra time. All right, Craig, you seem edgy. Oh, you're ready to...
That's a natural state.
To pounce.
Look at him, he looks edgy.
Eh? It's just...
As if he's going to fall asleep.
Well, I've just said I'm tired.
Exactly.
And you know what it is? No golf in a long time.
No golf, but working out.
Well,
Back on it.
I think I feel hurt.
Why, what's
really
wrong?
hurt. In fact, I'm a bit paranoid about it.
Why, what's happened?
Well, I wasn't involved in the CONCACAF Champions League talk.
Oh, that was it.
And you know, I prepped it all morning as well.
Would you like to add any? Oh,
No.
that's it. We've just ruined it.
I was so hurt.
Who was playing?
You just carried on with that, man.
I like that one.
Who was playing? Toronto.
There you go.
Chivas.
Hey!
What do you know about Mexican football? What do you know about it?
What do you know about Mexican football?
Ali is back.
Yes.
Can't wait for the show. I don't know how to say it in Spanish, but welcome back, amigo.
All right. Well,
How do you say welcome back?
Bienvenido.
Bienvenidos.
Yeah.
There you are. Perfect. Did you have a nice holiday?
Yes, I did.
You two weren't on together because you were away at the same time.
No, we're not together.
No.
Stupid comment.
Yeah.
How can you live in Spain for 5 years and not know what welcome back means?
Well, I don't know. Welcome back's not a phrase you would say very often, is it?
No?
No.
And you're living in Spain for 5 years, you never say, oh, welcome back?
No.
No.
So nobody
I'd
ever
say-
said to you, welcome back.
I would understand that. See you later.
Fair enough. Bienvenido.
Bienvenido. I knew that's welcome, but I didn't know that there was a back
Bienvenido de
bit.
regreso.
Ah, de regreso, you see. Now
Don't start now. No. Don't start now.
Do you think some Man United players are shielded by the relentless Paul Pogba media criticism? Lots have had some dreadful performances in the past, yet Pogba has taken the flak and we've all forgotten.
Forgotten who?
Good.
There's your answer. There's your answer. What?
Is anyone going to give an answer?
Well, the guy who costs the most, if they're not the best, is always going to get flack before anybody else.
Yep.
So,
Is he forgetting
It's
about...
normal.
Is he forgetting... I think Shaw's had some,
Yeah, sure has had some. Yeah.
and probably rightly, but he's had some, a lot. Smalling's had it, Jones got it last year. So, others have had it, yeah.
But to the point that perhaps sometimes Mourinho picks easy targets.
You're right.
So Luke Shaw is an easy target. He can get after him all he wants and nothing's really going to happen. So at some point maybe you can go after Alexis Sanchez and see how that works.
Yeah. Do you guys miss the couch?
No, hate it.
We've got a new studio coming soon.
Oh,
Yeah,
hello.
It's not this one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Why would I say we've got a new studio coming soon? Well, we're
Well,
sat
I'm-
in this studio. That would make any sense.
Well, they might have thought we've got a new studio design.
I'll just give you a little bit more time to come up with something. I'll just do that.
No,
I'll just cut the second.
no.
Go on then.
No, for clarity,
Who's he?
we're moving to a new studio. Yeah, you just said we've got a new studio.
Right.
And I said it is not this one.
By the way, this is design.
Yeah,
Yeah,
design.
if you change, you could design a new studio here.
Right.
Right. So I was giving clarity.
Right, but it wouldn't make a difference. No one would know.
Well, that's why I'm explaining to people we're moving to a new studio. Moving.
Right.
Because you're never
He used
clear.
that word, did he? No. I didn't think so.
Can Muchen beat all odds and win the Champions League this season? People are making them look like a chump, especially the English media, who think that Liverpool is a shoo-in and Real and Munich off.
Who's-
Right, Real and Munich off. Is it because their 5 Champions League is more recent and Real's 12? Is German football that bad? Oh dear.
Somebody's very angry.
I know, what he's devil, is he? Ooh.
Well, yeah, usually angry and hot.
Yes.
Fiery.
This guy's no English, right?
What?
Well, look at the way that's written.
I don't know, Stevie.
Listen, don't get me wrong, I'm not the... My grammar's not exactly perfect English, but...
Stevie, I've seen you
You've
on
done well,
Twitter. You don't know
you've
how to
done
use
well.
the word there. You don't know which
That's
tune
not
to
me.
use.
That's not me at all.
At
It's
the phone.
the actual machine does it itself.
Machine.
Correct.
Oh, guy.
I actually get more annoyed with the people that pick our tweets.
That pick our tweet?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, picking stuff like that.
Right. I see.
It's half the battle.
So our
It's
You've
not-
done well to read that.
I mean, on top of that, I come back off holiday and I've taken the armrests off the chairs.
Yes. Yeah, you noticed that.
I
didn't you?
noticed that,
Yeah.
yes.
I didn't notice.
Yeah.
He said to me, I was like,
Yeah.
apparently we're slumping.
You just told him. So you must have noticed.
Well, nothing really has changed, to be honest.
Say again?
You said you never noticed the armchairs ago. Well, you must have noticed because you've just told him that you
No,
noticed.
see, this is... I never noticed on Monday when I was back.
Say Monday.
Pardon? He did say when I told him. Until I told him.
I say, well, we'll get very picky here. Did he say that word? No.
You're the one who just brought it up.
Well, I came back Monday and he said to me, you were off, clearly, and he said, have you noticed anything different? And I went, and it wasn't moving to a new studio.
No.
I went, no, I don't. And he went, they've taken the armrests away. Apparently we're slumping.
You weren't wrong.
Right.
Some smarty's gone, oh, they're slumping in that studio.
What
They make a big difference to the way they analyse the games.
What do the guys think of the snobbery of Guardiola and Manchester City fans in regards to their style of play? Who decides what is correct football and how it is meant to be played? For example, why can't I enjoy counter-attacking football or a good defensive unit?
We'll enjoy it.
You know what?
Oh,
No.
If there was a team that weren't being snobby about the way they play, it would be Manchester City. They flat out turned round and said, this is what we're doing, and if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. And I have no problem with that, because they've got good players. It's teams like Southampton, who are on the bottom of the league, who want to come out and try and do that when they need to get a result. And the coach is giving it, oh no, we're going to stick to our principles. That's when you need to throw your principles and everything else out the window and just do what you need to do to win a game. That's snobbery.
here we go. All right. Definitive from Steve Nicol, who will be back. Are you back tomorrow?
What is it, man?
Thursday.
No.
Oh. Ali?
Oh, I'm back, baby. I'm back. Better than
2
ever.
days in a row.
What?
You don't do no?
I don't know, it's in the contract.
Yeah, no Thursdays.
Just in case there's a Europa League on.
Ali be on his own tomorrow.
Apparently. You guys are not coming?
no,
No, it's me and Shaq have switched.
Sorry?
Me and Shaq switched.
Oh, okay.
Shaq is coming to
Well,
work.
Shaq's going on holiday again, isn't he?
Oh, well, there you go. Shaq is coming to work, you're saying?
Yeah.
To be honest, we only wanted to know if you were in or not.
All right, fair enough.
Because when you switch, there's always problems.
ESPN
Sure Shaq is coming.
back tomorrow with Ali, maybe Shagger, who knows.
Is
and of
Mara's
course,
here?
join us Sunday to
it dead?
Maybe it was Manners I
Who's
switched with.
hosting?
Hey,
let's
don't know who's hosting tomorrow. Sunday to Friday, ESPN Plus, the new
You know.
home of ESPN.
You know who's hosting. You know when you're
I
not
don't know.
here.
Don't know.
Okay.
Adrian.
leading up to the match, all the conversation was about the conditions. And it was cold, and it was going to be snowing and raining. And how would Chivas deal with this? A minute in, they're up 1-0. So it was supposed to be an advantage for Toronto FC, and a minute in, you're not ready to play. Chivas comes in and scores a goal, and then that puts you in a tough situation. Toronto then got back into the game. They created some opportunities, but overall, it wasn't a solid, good performance, confident performance. And it takes me back to one thing. This is the first time in the latter stages of this competition where Toronto has faced a situation where they now have to come back from a result. And it's the first time, really, in the latter stages of these competitions where they are the favorites going into one of these matchups against the Mexican teams, because Chivas is the weakest of the Mexican teams that they have played. And you saw a different version of Toronto, a team that was nervous for the first time, a team that had turnovers in bad areas, a team that could not finish their chances, a team that had possession but didn't know what to do with that possession. I thought this was the first time in this competition that Toronto looked like they didn't belong. And to me, that's a shame, because up to this point, they have been an impressive group.
So having said all that, did they deserve to lose?
Well, it's what you do on the field. It doesn't matter if you deserve. Like Ali said, they had plenty of opportunities to capitalize on those chances, to score those goals, and to come away with a different result. Chivas didn't have the momentum Toronto had. Ali mentioned they were the weakest of the Mexican teams left. They're 16th out of 18 in position in Liga MX. They're not a confident bunch right now. Lots of talk about this being a failure of a season for them. On paper, Toronto is a stronger team. They should have came away with more based on what they've done, but they didn't finish, so they don't deserve more.
Let's take a look at what the bookies have to say regarding the second leg of this tie. Of course, that will be in Mexico. Chivas, huge favourite, Stevie, 9-1 on. Toronto FC, obviously, stating the obvious, have it all to do.
Yeah, Chivas should be. They've just gone away from home in such a huge game and come away with a victory, and they go, well, they take Toronto back to Mexico. And I mean, is there a team from the US, whether it be the national team or an MLS team, who wants to go and play in Mexico and has to go and attack and win the game? I mean, everything is played right into Chivas' hands.
Yeah, you look at Toronto, and then you can point at different things. And you can point at the mistake by Alex Warner. You can point about how disappointing it was to give up the 2 away goals. But the truth is that now you got to go chase it. And so that plays into the hands of Chivas, as Stevie's talking about, but it also forces Toronto to do something that they haven't had to do in this competition. Every time that they've gone down to Mexico, they've been solid, they've been behind the ball, they've been organized, and then they go on the counter with Jovinko and Josie Altero and maybe a change of pace by somebody else. Now they have to take it to Chivas USA. It changes the way you approach the game, and it forces you to do something that you're not comfortable doing. And so in that point, then you have to think that Chivas, they would have to be the favorites. But Toronto has been good. It was so disappointing to see how they played yesterday because of how good they have been in this competition. You have to see a better team, a better version of this team if they have any chance of winning the title.
Well, now the problem is that you're going to play against one of the teams that's the best transition teams in Liga MX, a team that creates tons of opportunities. They may not finish a lot, but they create a lot. And through that creation, through that havoc, if Toronto goes down one more, that obligates 3 goals. It's a big task for them away from home.
To your point, in that transition game, then you got a player like Rodolfo Pizarro who takes off. Once he takes off and creates separation, whether it's from Michael Bradley or Marky Delgado, it creates also all sorts of mismatch problems for Toronto. They have to deal with that movement of Pizarro because he has freedom to go about wherever he wants to in the final third. He creates a separation in transition, then Toronto's going to be